The Crimson Cipher by Obscura Chronicles. Chapter 1. Lieutenant Ellsworth offered Inspector Laurent Dubois a fourth drink. For Ellsworth, it meant a fourth bottle, half already drained. This was no ordinary liquor, it was strong local whiskey. The burning fire in Laurent's throat was unlike anything he had tasted before, but being a habitual drinker, he kept going. Laurent belonged to the Central Directorate of the Judicial Police on a critical assignment. Ellsworth, an officer of the Foreign Department's Secret Intelligence Directorate, had met him before. They had served together during the Second World War, both lieutenants then. After the war, Laurent joined DCPJ, while Ellsworth entered the SID. Laurent's visit was official, but no one knew the true purpose. He sought a meeting with the elusive chief officer of SID, a man whose identity was a secret even to Ellsworth. Rumors painted the chief officer as a shadowy figure, told to Ellsworth by former SID's officers, now returned to military service. Laurent understood well that the chief officer might refuse to meet or aid him. Any help depended solely on his will. Laurent claimed his mission was official, but sought the chief officer's personal assistance, a fact Ellsworth could not comprehend, and Laurent refused to explain. Ellsworth, not easily fooled, knew Laurent's weakness, his drinking. He deliberately encouraged Laurent to drink heavily. He explained the local whiskey was consumed in escalating measures. The second measure, twice the first. The third, triple the second. The fourth, double the third. By the fourth, Laurent was seeing stars. His mind wandered to his beloved, whose mother was a war widow, crippled by poison gas. Laurent's eyes stung as he recalled the woman's permanent injury. "Why, what's wrong?" Ellsworth asked, watching closely. Laurent struggled for composure, but continued speaking of the woman's suffering. Ellsworth grew impatient and angry. The game was slipping away. He cut to the chase. "Why have you come?" Laurent muttered cryptic words about a beggar who climbs a rope to the sky, claiming to be a big sun man. Ellsworth snapped irritably, ordering him to stop. "Am I weaker than you?" Laurent challenged, eyes wide. Ellsworth bristled at the insolence, but held back. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. A shadow moved, Laurent shouting urgently beside him. Chaos erupted, a scream rang out. "The whole line's off!" A man rushed into Ellsworth's chair, knocking him down with it. Ellsworth cursed silently, but restrained his anger. Hitting a man like him in such a place was disgraceful. In the flickering light's return, Ellsworth saw Laurent collapsed, face down, a dagger's hilt embedded between his shoulder blades. A fight broke out in the bar. The doctor later confirmed Laurent was dead. Ellsworth, sobered, gave his statement cautiously. He concealed his SID affiliation and Laurent's true identity as a DCPJ detective. He claimed their friendship was from wartime, that they met by chance, and he invited Laurent to drink. Ellsworth professed ignorance of any enemies Laurent might have. The police held him for hours. It was a chilling experience for Ellsworth, a veteran of war's horrors, yet nothing had shaken him like Laurent's murder. He spent the night restless, haunted. He still did not know if the chief officer would even want to meet Laurent. Chapter 2. At precisely 5 o'clock, Ellsworth's phone rang. "Lieutenant Ellsworth," a voice greeted. "Ellsworth speaking," he replied. "This is Shadow Zero." Ellsworth's brow furrowed as he scratched his head. "Sir, were you and Laurent alone last night?" "Yes, sir." "Was your statement to the police accurate?" "No, sir. I would never reveal my true status. Besides that, everything else was true. If you hadn't been intoxicated, I might have believed you." A dry warning followed. "If the post-mortem reveals raw alcohol in Laurent's stomach, you'll be in serious trouble." Ellsworth let out a strangled noise. "You did well to conceal Laurent's identity." "I know," Ellsworth said in surprise. "And I also know he wanted to meet me." "Then why didn't you meet him?" "No one meets Shadow Zero." "You know why he sought you?" "Yes." "Good. Now avoid the police at all costs. The operation must remain secret. The bar manager's statement noted you didn't order any drinks despite being a regular. Had the overturned tables not hidden it, the police would have found a bottle, and you wouldn't have made it home. A Frenchman drinking local whiskey raised suspicion. The voice continued grimly. Once the post-mortem report arrives, chaos will follow. Leave your residence before dawn. If any of your associates remain, trouble will find them. Suddenly, gunfire cracked. A bullet struck the wall inches from Ellsworth. The receiver slipped from his hand as he vaulted through a window. The fall was short, but he injured his right foot. On the street, another volley of shots forced him into a deserted alley. He ran, mind racing, but body steady. Ellsworth was no coward, but bullets in the dark were a threat even to him. Chapter 3. Captain Bramwell was in a deep sleep when his phone rang sharply at 5 o'clock. He sprang awake as if expecting it. His sleep was always that light, deep yet easily broken. "This is Bramwell," he answered sharply. "Shadow Zero here," came the voice. "Good morning, sir," Bramwell responded, startled. "Morning. Listen carefully, Captain. Lieutenant Ellsworth is in danger. Get to his house immediately. Protect his documents at all costs. They must not fall into police hands. Be swift and return before the situation escalates." The line went dead. Bramwell dressed quickly, grabbed his revolver from the desk, and mounted his motorcycle parked below. The streets were empty, no risk of delay. The bike roared like a storm as he sped through the silent city. The motorcycle stopped outside Ellsworth's house. Parking the bike, Bramwell approached cautiously. The front door stood open. "Stay where you are. Police," a voice warned from inside. Bramwell didn't fall for it. If police were inside, someone would guard the entrance. No one stood outside. Drawing his revolver, he edged toward the closed door. A voice called again from within, but no light shone through the glass. Bramwell kicked the door hard. It swung open just as a flame hissed past his ear. He ducked instinctively and pressed against the wall. Darkness engulfed the room, silence broken only by his own breath. Minutes passed. Bramwell, familiar with the house's layout, knew there was no escape except this door. Suddenly, a narrow beam of light appeared, a torch held low. Someone stepped out silently, and Bramwell's revolver pressed against their body. "Raise your hands," Bramwell whispered. Foolishness. In the dark, it meant nothing. Two swift punches struck Bramwell's forehead. Stars exploded behind his eyes, but he stayed conscious. He swung his revolver's butt in retaliation, hitting the wall. His hand hurt, and the revolver clattered to the floor. Footsteps fled, fading into silence. Bramwell retrieved a torch from his motorcycle, locked the door, and began searching the house. Chaos. Every room was ransacked, as if someone had been desperate to find something. He ignored the disorder and headed straight to Ellsworth's documents. His heart sank. The files were gone. He knew Shadow Zero would demand answers. Shadow Zero, the man none had ever seen, whose commands came only by voice, like a ghost. Even Bramwell feared him. On a table, Bramwell found a single sheet weighed down by a paperweight. He unfolded it and read, "You people are utterly useless. Without me, you'd have sunk the operation yourselves. I am taking the documents. Leave before the police arrive. If caught, I will deal with you severely." Signed with cryptic initials, S-0. Bramwell left the house, anxiety tightening his chest. Chapter 4. Damien Shaw stared at the white paper with focused intensity. Eyes closed, his expression grave as if performing a critical task. Across the room, Assistant Director Ryan Blake of the National Crime Agency watched him with mounting irritation. Ryan had developed a deep grudge against Damien. The Midnight Vendetta case was the source. Ryan resented Damien's habit of exploiting official covers to carry out his work. Twice recently, Damien had posed as a government agent to get results. In the Phantom Bat case, he claimed to represent the Foreign Office, a claim Ryan's investigation disproved. Later, in the Midnight Vendetta case, Damien asserted ties to the SID. Ryan couldn't verify this, but knowing that Foreign Secretary Sir Oliver Fairfax was involved, he dared not act. Fairfax evidently trusted Damien's abilities. Ryan's presence in Damien's flat made sense given the strange events that had shaken the city the night before. "What are you thinking?" Ryan snapped. Damien opened his eyes slowly. "This is the first time, after hours, I can't find answers. Think about it yourself. Neither man drank at the bar, yet the post-mortem says the Frenchman died intoxicated. There was liquor in his stomach, but they sat 3 hours at the bar. Then Ellsworth vanished. His home was ransacked. A bullet hole in the wall. No fingerprints on the dagger. Repeated anomalies. How can I help you? If I were there, I'd make the killer regret it." Ryan stood. "I'm leaving, but I hear you're still working on this. If you get caught, I'll join you in the grave." "Better that I wait for you there," Ryan retorted. Damien resumed seeing blank paper. "How far do you think you'll run with me?" He paused, clenched his fist at the ringing telephone, knowing it was probably the same girl for whom Damien had bought a puppy. Since she heard the puppy's sound, she had also taken on the form of a cat. He picked up. "Hello?" A voice purred. "Meow." "This is your phone," Damien said, handing the receiver to Ryan. Ryan approached, puzzled. No one knew he was here. "Hello." "Meow," came the reply. "What do you mean? Who is this?" Ryan barked. "Meow, meow, meow." Frustrated, Ryan slammed down the receiver and lightly struck Damien's head twice, though Damien dodged and the blows hit the table. "Must be a fault in the phone," Damien remarked with mock surprise. "Who was that?" Ryan demanded. "Probably a spirit of evil," Damien shrugged. Ryan scowled. "You can't make a fool out of me." "I think so too," Damien said. "Maybe some lady is teaching her cat to make calls." Ryan exploded. "You always drag me into nonsense." Damien smiled faintly and pointed toward the door. Ryan, not in the mood for further argument, left with a parting threat. Chapter 5. Captain Bramwell's motorcycle rolled to a stop outside the Lancaster Hotel. He pushed it up to the porch, parked, and entered. Shadow Zero had informed him that Lieutenant Ellsworth was in room 29 and instructed him to maintain contact at all costs. At room 29, Bramwell knocked. "Who is it?" "Bramwell." Footsteps approached and the door opened. Ellsworth stood there, clean-shaven now and looking younger. Bramwell barely recognized him. "How are you here?" Ellsworth asked, surprised. "By Shadow Zero's will," Bramwell replied, entering and closing the door behind him. They exchanged a long look. "Shadow Zero is surely a ghost," Ellsworth said. "We say that often enough it's lost meaning," Bramwell replied dryly. "Ghost or not, he tracks every breath we take. Now tell me, what's going on?" "Sit." Ellsworth gestured toward a chair. He sank down, face dark, and recounted everything. When he finished, Bramwell shared his experience at Ellsworth's home and asked why Laurent sought Shadow Zero. "God only knows," Ellsworth grimaced. "I've put this noose around my own neck." The phone rang. Ellsworth pointed to it. Bramwell answered. The hotel's switchboard operator spoke. "Is Mr. Bramwell in room 29? "Yes, speaking." "Hold please, you have a call." Bramwell glanced at Ellsworth as the line connected. "Who is it?" Ellsworth asked. "Bramwell." Shadow Zero's voice came through. "You've arrived?" "Yes, sir." "Anything unusual?" "Only that Ellsworth has shaved his mustache." There was a hint of anger. "Did you know 2 men followed you here?" Bramwell swallowed hard. "They're both waiting in the dining hall. One was outside your door recently. Ellsworth's life is at risk. Unknown men fear he knows too much." "Orders. Do not leave the room until I call. Keep the door locked." "Understood," Bramwell breathed out. The line went dead. He turned to Ellsworth. "You're in serious trouble." "Why?" Bramwell repeated the warning. Ellsworth made a weary face. "Do you think I'm hiding out of fear? I act on Shadow Zero's orders. He wants to protect me from the police and someone else." "I'm not calling you a coward," Bramwell said, "but this is new to you, and so am I. Why did Laurent want to meet Shadow Zero? And why, knowing him, hasn't Shadow Zero met Laurent?" Ellsworth remained silent. The room grew still. Chapter 6. Damien and Valeria sat at a table in the Lancaster Hotel, deep in conversation. Valeria insisted, "The first telescope was made by Galileo." "No," Damien countered calmly. "The earliest known telescope was crafted by Alexander of Budapest." Damien changed the subject. "I'm talking about Yorkshire, where they make the finest pudding. Neither France nor America can match it." Damien smiled slightly. "If they discover pudding centuries from now, they'll claim they invented it. But people here have known for centuries." Valeria frowned. "What exactly is pudding?" "A matter of tradition and pride," Damien said seriously. Their voices drew attention from nearby tables. Valeria leaned forward, impatient. "Tell me." "Some things are best shown, not told," Damien replied, signaling her to wait. He rose abruptly. "Stay here. I'll be back with something." Valeria watched him leave, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Chapter 7. After a while, the phone in room 29 rang again. This time, Ellsworth answered. "Room 29, he said. "Please hold," came the switchboard operator's voice. Moments later, Shadow Zero's voice crackled through. "Ellsworth, move immediately to room 14. It's vacant, registered under Mr. Maxwell. Tell Bramwell to stay put. Hurry." The line went dead. "You stay here. I'm moving to room 14, Ellsworth said. "Why?" Shadow Zero question mark. "Yes, trouble. We're lucky to have an officer watching over us for 24 hours. Ellsworth left, footsteps echoing down the empty corridor. Bramwell relaxed in the chair, pipe in hand. 10 minutes later, 2 men burst into the room, ignoring his protests. One held a revolver, the other locked the door. "Where's Ellsworth?" the armed man demanded. "I'm Bramwell. You're also searching for Ellsworth?" Bramwell said, feigning surprise. "What were you doing at his house yesterday morning?" "Who are you to ask?" And threatening me with a revolver. "Keep it holstered." "He was here recently, then gone. Who opened the door?" "I knocked thinking he was inside. No answer, so I pushed the door." "And why linger so long?" "Waiting for him." Strangely, he left the door unlocked. The revolver man's eyes narrowed. "Why are you involved?" "Ellsworth's a friend. He warned me of danger. I arrived yesterday, got attacked by someone who fled, probably one of you. Tell me, what's his fault? Or end this." "We've ceased our pursuit," the man smiled, holstering his weapon. "Let's search for him together. Your guess that we attacked you is wrong. I have little time. He's reckless. If threatened, he'd come to me. He knows what I'm capable of. And if he had, he'd be safe." "What's your role?" "Retired army officer. I've worked with Ellsworth for days." The revolver man sneered. "Then I curse you." "Why?" "For refusing to work for the government, despite your retirement." Bramwell's face twisted with fake fear. The man produced a card. "Samson Murphy, Inspector, Scotland Yard." "Inspector Samson," Bramwell stammered. "Are you certain Ellsworth killed the Frenchman?" "We can't say yet," Samson said. "But Captain Bramwell, you can assist." "I'm ready. Tell me what to do." "Where is Ellsworth?" Bramwell hesitated. "Not there. Not with David." "Oh, Cassie." He grinned. "I can tell you where he is." "Then speak." "He won't be found anywhere but Cassie's. She's his loose woman, lives on Bishop Street, house 58. Will you come?" "Of course, Inspector. If Ellsworth's guilty, I want to see him face justice. I despise lawbreakers." They left the room. Bramwell felt a chill, as if a ghost had passed him. Walking through the corridor, he pondered what awaited at Cassie's. Cassandra Wycliffe was a member of the Secret Intelligence Directorate, like Ellsworth. Bramwell wondered if Shadow Zero approved of his actions. He knew, however, Shadow O's watchful eyes missed nothing. Outside, Bramwell approached a car. "My motorcycle's there," he said. "Leave it. I'll drive you," Samson replied. Bramwell climbed into the front seat. Another man sat behind. The car started. "Heading to Bishop Street?" Bramwell asked. "No, first to headquarters." "For your statement?" "Don't waste time. I only know what I told you." That's enough. Our chief demands formal proceedings, regardless of outcome. Very well. Bramwell stared out, calculating. Are you taking a detour? This isn't the way to Carlton Road. Quiet, the man behind warned, pressing a revolver barrel to Bramwell's neck. Have you lost your mind? Bramwell hissed. I'm not jumping from a moving car. No reply. The barrel stayed firm. Bramwell fell silent, knowing why they'd brought him. They left the city, tall buildings fading to fields and crops. The car stopped near a factory. Bramwell was told to exit, the revolver still pressed to his neck. They approached a large building with a chimney, Hawthorne Glassworks. A car passed on the busy road. Bramwell whispered Shadow O's name silently, but neither man glanced back. Chapter 8. Cassandra Wycliffe, of Latina descent, loved Italian music and often hummed Italian songs while knitting. Yet, whenever Shadow Zero called, she found herself unable to recall even a single melody. She was one of the 8 operatives in the Secret Intelligence Directorate. That day, as she hummed softly, the phone rang insistently. Setting aside her knitting, she stretched and answered. Cassandra speaking. Is that you, Cassandra? Yes. This is Shadow Zero. Sir, Cassandra responded, a wave of nervousness washing over her. You know Ellsworth's condition? Yes, I've been informed. Do you have a photo of him? Yes. The frame in your drawing room, the one holding the Mona Lisa replica, is that correct? Exactly, Cassandra replied, surprised. Remove the Mona Lisa and replace it with Ellsworth's photo. Understood, sir, she said, though confusion flickered in her eyes. You'll be surprised, Shadow Zero continued. 2 men are looking for Ellsworth. Seat them in the drawing room. If they ask, claim you've never heard of him. If they notice the photo, feign surprise and fear, and then reveal whatever you can. They may claim to be from the police department. Direct them to where Ellsworth is hiding. I don't know the location, sir, Cassandra answered honestly. Then take them to Fairfield House. It's empty. All arrangements are ready. You will tell them he's there. I'll handle the rest. Very well, sir. It will be done. I'm proud of your intelligence, Shadow Zero said, before the line went dead. Cassandra felt a surge of resolve. Chapter 9. Captain Bramwell was pushed into a silent room. The factory machines were off, and the stillness was almost oppressive. Only 4 men remained. 3 masked figures had replaced the 2 who brought him. This is headquarters? Bramwell challenged. Consider it so, one masked man replied. Now tell us what Laurent spoke to Ellsworth. Was I present at their meeting? Bramwell snapped. That doesn't matter. Ellsworth must have told you something. I know nothing. The masked man turned to his companions. Set him straight. Bramwell leapt up, but his revolver was gone. Unarmed, he prepared to fight. 3 men attacked at once. Bramwell's skill was formidable. He blocked and countered blows. Still, fatigue began to show. One assailant caught both his legs, bringing Bramwell crashing to the floor. Darkness claimed him. When he awoke, the open sky stretched above. Tall bushes swayed and birdsong filled the air. The cold December sun stung his skin. His clothes were inadequate. He sat up, disoriented, his head still spinning. Suddenly, rustling in the bushes revealed a familiar face. Logan Pierce, Bramwell gasped. Where am I? Your motorcycle's nearby, Logan said. On Shadow Zero's orders, I brought it here from the Lancaster Hotel. You were unconscious in the bushes. Did Shadow Zero contact you? Yes, but no new instructions. How long have I been here? About half an hour. I tried reviving you, then searched for water. There's no pond, only a dry canal. Bramwell shook his head. I don't understand how I got here. Same story, Ellsworth, Logan asked. Yes, but I don't know the facts of this matter. I'm as lost as you. Bramwell recounted the events leading to his capture. Logan exhaled deeply. Then it must have been Shadow Zero who rescued you. Have you ever imagined an officer like him? Number. The highest officers sit behind desks giving orders. Why does Shadow Zero avoid the public eye? It's better this way. His anonymity keeps operations secret. It's a blessing. They emerged onto the road where Bramwell's motorcycle waited. "Your thoughts?" Bramwell asked. "Let's return via the glassworks," Bramwell suggested. "No," Logan shook his head. "Orders are orders." Bramwell sighed. "I'd hoped for a different path." "Any further instructions?" "None." The motorcycle's engine growled, breaking the forest's silence as they rode on. Chapter 10. Cassandra Wycliffe entered Fairfield House with the two men, following Shadow Zero's instructions precisely. She was stunned to see his predictions unfold exactly as he had said. She must have performed well. Otherwise, why would the men follow her all the way? It was her first time inside Fairfield House, a facility devoted entirely to SID operations. At the porch, a guard in a spotless uniform stepped out. Cassandra recognized him, though his vacant expression suggested little intelligence. "Tell Lieutenant Ellsworth what you've brought," she ordered. The guard blinked, confused. "Are you deaf?" she asked sharply. "No, I'm fine," he said, awkwardly brushing his ears. Turning to the men, he asked, "What do you want?" "They're with me." "Stop bothering," Cassandra snapped. "If they're with you, the Sir may or may not meet them," the guard muttered. "What nonsense." "I'm just relaying orders. Men aren't allowed inside, only women." The men stepped forward. Cassandra pushed past him, followed by them. The guard blocked their path again. "No, sir. You wait here." The two men knocked him aside with punches. Cassandra ordered, "Keep him here." She went inside swiftly, leaving the men to drag the dazed guard into the drawing room and lock the door. Outside, darkness enveloped the compound. Strange noises whispered in the night. Cassandra glimpsed an apparition, Shadow Zero himself, and wondered if she would meet him tonight. Her thoughts turned to the guard. Despite his stupidity, he was handsome, well-educated. Could he truly be a guard? Could he be Shadow Zero? The idea seemed absurd. In her mind, Shadow Zero was a terrifying figure, surely present here now. She retreated to the garden behind the building. The porch lights had gone out, and no windows glowed. Hiding behind a fence near the porch, she waited. Suddenly, two shrieks pierced the silence. She knew they came from the men she'd brought. An eerie silence followed, as if their voices had been strangled. The cold bit deep. Her teeth chattered, but she stayed. An hour passed before a door creaked open, and voices rose. Two men arguing fiercely, trading insults. They emerged, their steps unsteady, their words incoherent. They fought, throwing vicious curses. She couldn't see their faces, but recognized their voices. One broke free and fled toward the gate. The other laughed wildly, chasing him. Her heart pounded so fiercely, she feared it might fail. The men vanished into the night. Shaken, Cassandra fled to the street. She walked far, forgetting how distant her home was. Ahead, a crowd blocked a road. Noise and chaos filled the air. From the crowd burst several men wearing red caps, the addicts she'd handed over to Shadow Zero. Their torn clothes hung loosely, faces smeared with blood. Their eyes held a wild, vacant terror. One groaned incoherently, the other barked like a dog. They grappled violently as police constables swung batons, ordering the crowd back. The addicts bore the brunt of the controls, staggering forward. Cassandra watched until the crowd disappeared around a corner. Her legs shook violently, and she felt unable to take another step. Even in the light, shadows of Shadow Zero haunted her. She hailed a taxi and collapsed in the back seat, drained and hollow. Chapter 11. Cassandra went straight to Bramwell's house, unaware of what he had endured. She sought him because he was one of the few likely to be found at home. Bramwell stared, surprised by her disheveled appearance. Loose hair, fluttering scarf, lipstick smudged beyond her lips, likely from nervous habit. "All well?" he asked as he stood. "Yes." "Sit down. I need water. My throat is dry." She drank a full glass, despite the icy December chill. Settling into a lounge chair, she closed her eyes for 10 minutes. Bramwell broke the silence. "I'm confused. Tell me what's wrong. Want to see the mirror?" Certainly. Cassandra pulled a small mirror from her purse and began fixing her appearance. You won't talk? Bramwell pressed. First, explain that swelling on your face. I was beaten. I had them beaten, Cassandra laughed sharply. No more questions, Bramwell said, filling his pipe. She teased his bruised face, then began her account. Bramwell listened intently. Shadow Zero took my revenge, he said, exhaling deeply. What revenge? My story isn't one for casual ears, Bramwell said angrily, rubbing his swollen forehead, still tender and uneven. He then recounted his ordeal. How did you end up in those bushes? Cassandra asked. A miracle of Shadow Zero's doing. He called me shortly after. The 3 men escaped. Logan was the only one I found at the factory. He brought my motorcycle from the Lancaster Hotel where I'd left it unconscious. But your story puzzles me. I'm surprised too. Why did those 2 fight so fiercely? It was as if they'd lost their minds. Shadow Zero is no man but a ghost. You could have summoned some courage to meet him. No one in my place would have, Cassandra said confidently. Bramwell was about to respond when the phone rang. He answered. Hello? Is this Miss Cassandra? By God, sir, you keep surprising us. He silently handed the receiver to her. Yes, sir, she said, voice trembling. How are you? Fine, sir. You must have been frightened. Yes, the situation was tense. I don't understand what happened to those 2. Shadow Zero has launched a psychotic assault on those men. His latest weapon, a maddening injection that causes madness lasting 2 months, through the cold season. It will ease come summer. Why? To keep you cautious. I don't want the police involved yet. The game could be ruined. I extracted all needed information and rendered them mentally unfit to speak. Otherwise, I would have handed them over to the police. You understand now? Yes, sir. Rest now. Shadow Zero ended the call. Cassandra held the receiver, cold sweat on her skin, contemplating the deadly reach of Shadow Zero. Chapter 12. It was a bitter December night. Stars blanketed the vast, dark sky. Suddenly, from the western horizon, a glowing red cloud appeared, moving swiftly yet shrinking in size. By the time it reached the city center, it had become a tiny, radiant point, radiating beams like a glowing ember suspended in the sky. Then it surged forward again, trailing bright red lines that began to form words. People stopped in their tracks, crowds gathered, traffic ground to a halt. The glowing lines spelled out a chilling message. People of Hampton Street, destruction is coming. In 1 hour, doomsday awaits. Run! The red point remained fixed, separate from the ominous writing. Panic spread swiftly. Military searchlights pierced the darkness, slicing the sky with beams. Broadcast towers relayed urgent warnings. Jets thundered overhead, but nothing could unravel the mystery of the message hovering high above, too distant for searchlights to reach. As the red writing expanded, it dissolved into crimson clouds. Streets emptied rapidly. Hampton Street was gripped by fear. Residents poured into the streets, fleeing to safer areas. Some remained indifferent, mostly the less influential, reliant on protection from wealthier neighbors. Hampton Street was home to merchants and factory owners, many superstitious to a fault. Their anxieties magnified by omens and signs, they saw the celestial message as confirmation of impending doom. Exactly 1 hour later, the red point reappeared in the sky. The chaos persisted as the glowing orb descended swiftly, now a massive crimson cloud. It struck the roof of a 4-story building with a thunderous explosion. Thick, acrid smoke billowed and spread rapidly, growing so dense 2 men inside could not see each other a yard apart. The city erupted into panic. People fled like bees from their hives, screams filling the air. The devastation was total. Deaths by suffocation, destruction on a massive scale. 2 bodies were recovered, their deaths front-page news the following day. The disaster was confined to one district, but its effect was citywide. Fear of apocalypse swept the suburbs. The military imposed curfews, and troops patrolled relentlessly. When citizens refused orders, soldiers resorted to force, even firing shots. The violence subdued the crowds, but resentment simmered. Homes were locked tight, but angry voices echoed in streets and taverns. At that moment, thoughts of international politics or genteel lectures on social order were forgotten. Chapter 13. It took nearly a week for the city to calm. Peace returned, but military headquarters and the investigation department remained restless. Neither believed this was a mere natural disaster. Ryan's agitation was notable. His department existed to expose conspiracies and prevent criminals from exploiting chaos. The pressure from above overwhelmed him. He decided to find the city's biggest intelligent, Damien Shaw. After days of searching, he finally learned Damien was at Dinah's pub, lecturing drunkards on ethics. Ryan hurried there just as a quarrel erupted between Damien and Dinah, the pub's owner, a stout, dark-complexioned woman in her 40s, known for her harsh voice and stinginess. Ryan watched silently as Damien argued passionately, gesturing sharply. Patrons and staff were entertained. Even the waiter stopped to watch. Dinah threatened to call the police repeatedly. Ryan grew impatient and approached the counter. "What's the problem?" he asked. "This man's spoiling my customers," Dinah snapped. "How?" "He claims the liquor's watered down." "No water," Damien said through clenched teeth. "Mind your business," Dinah snapped at his wrist. "I care about my grandfather's honor too," Damien said, raising his fist. "Police! Police!" Dinah shouted. More men entered. Damien shot Ryan a warning glance. He wanted Ryan to leave, but Ryan stayed. Damien muttered and turned toward the exit. "I'll make him listen," Ryan told Dinah, following Damien into an alley. Damien stopped and faced Ryan, bloodshot eyes narrowing. "Why are you here?" "To see you." "Why?" "Without you, I'm finished." The wrinkles on Damien's forehead smoothed as he considered. "I was going to find you myself." "Anything urgent?" "If you have work worthy of me, say it." "Come, we'll talk." They took a taxi to Damien's flat in silence. Ryan suspected Damien was already involved. At the flat, Damien locked the door carefully. "Speak." Ryan wiped sweat from his brow. "Know about the heavenly writing?" "Of course. Nothing bigger has happened." "What's your take?" "I think a gang exploited it to loot Hampton Street." "A trick?" "What else?" "Trick means sleight of hand. You know that." "I know." "Was it sleight of hand? The writing? The red star that formed it?" "Enough. What do you want?" "Help? The department's reputation's ruined. It may affect your Uncle Douglas Shaw's name." "I'm no less guilty." "What do you think the writing means?" "Divine punishment. A sign of doomsday. When men raid others' homes, chaos follows. Aren't you involved with Lieutenant Yawa's wife?" "Stop joking. I'm serious. Want to find out more?" Ryan nodded. "You will. But first, one thing. Tell me. Get me permission to dig a grave." "What? You bore me. I don't have time for jokes." "I'm serious." "Whose grave?" "Dr. Benedict's. Who? Head of university science. Died 2 months ago of heart failure." "So his grave?" Ryan blinked. "Yes, buried there. Why surprised? Why dig it? To mourn? You're rambling. Permission or not, it'll be dug tonight. You know the consequences. Whoever punishes me hasn't been born. They'll lose everything." Ryan considered. "Permission won't be easy. We'll need justification." "This is difficult," Damien admitted, concern showing. "By the way, why Dinah's pub?" "Idle, unemployed. Expenses pile up. Soon, a steady income." "Why risk yourself? If Dinah complains, you'll be humiliated." "Leave me. I'll seek advice when needed." "Back to the grave?" "It'll be dug tonight. I want you there." "As friend or foe?" "Both." "Bring handcuffs. It's illegal." "Serious?" "Absolutely. You're responsible if it happens." "No, you are. If you dig the grave, you benefit. Otherwise, someone else will." "I understand. You have intel someone will dig Dr. Benedict's grave tonight." "Exactly. You're the investigator." Who is he? Don't know. Just information. So we must monitor the cemetery. Absolutely. But I doubt you'll catch them. Won't you join? If you ask, I might. I do. Chapter 14. As dusk fell, plainclothes officers began gathering near the cemetery. Ryan and Damien entered, surrounded by solid graves and several incomplete ones. Ryan scanned the tombstones. Is Dr. Benedict's grave here? How did you guess? No name is visible. It must be under construction. Exactly. A grand mausoleum is planned for him. He was a great scientist. Which one is his? There are many unfinished graves. His stands apart, beyond the weeping willows. Look there. Ryan moved quickly toward the distant bushes. Damien's eyes flickered with quiet amusement, but he said nothing. After 5 minutes, Ryan returned. Hide your men. If we catch a single grave digger, the job is done. Where? Do what you think best. You have full authority. Within minutes, Damien gathered Ryan's men. Darkness cloaked the cemetery, cold, bit deep. Damien led them to the opposite bushes. Watch them closely. They won't work well in darkness. We must surround them completely. No escapes. At 10 o'clock, faint light flickered in the bushes. Ryan squeezed Damien's shoulder. Your instincts are right. Now, crawl on your bellies, surround the area silently, and watch. We need to know why that grave is being dug. Why? What's your theory? Wait and see, Ryan instructed the men. Soon, only Damien and Ryan remained hidden. Dim light glimmered in the bushes. Ryan muttered, You never tell me everything. Sometimes I end up embarrassed. Ask what you must. Why that grave? What do you know about Dr. Benedict? A renowned scientist. Only that? His affairs? Secrets? No idea. He dreamed of reaching the moon, planned a rocket that could maneuver in all directions. Impressive. Human achievement came from such inventions. But it wasn't an airplane. Why? Airplanes stay within searchlight range. That flying machine was beyond. True. So it was a rocket. Ryan sighed. Why dig his grave then? Stop pestering me. We'll find out. Ryan pondered. Benedict was no ordinary man. Once in France, working with lunar scientists, he returned ill and died weeks later. 2 months had passed. Ryan linked forgotten facts with Damien's theory. A rocket's connection to the celestial writing seemed plausible, but why disturb Benedict's grave? Could a secret lie buried? The thought seemed absurd, like a spy novel plot. Ryan shivered in the cold. Damien shook him. Time to move. They crawled toward the bushes. Scratching noises and falling bricks echoed. Now, Damien whispered. Ryan's men burst in, but met silence. In the grave's dim light, a dog jumped, tin cans tied to its body jingling. No one else was there. What a farce, Damien murmured. Ryan eyed the grave, untouched, unbroken. They noticed the dog's rope tied to a 2-stem tree, blocking its path. Damien dashed after the rope. The torchlight revealed a broken grave and an open coffin. We've been deceived, Damien said softly. Rushing to the coffin, Ryan said, The corpse is gone. Nearby lay grave-digging tools. They searched long, but found nothing. I'm fooled, Ryan admitted. Me too, Damien replied. Ryan's anger rose. Mind your language. Some men here can hear you, Damien warned. Silence fell. They left empty-handed. At a cafe, Ryan's mood soured. Damien, you must reveal the truth or lose everything, Ryan said. You're ungrateful. I've supported you, Damien retorted. I don't believe you were fooled. Why not? You arrived at dusk with a crowd. Those men likely knew the grave was wrong. Use your brain. You'll never satisfy me. No contract to please you. Go, Ryan threatened. I could handcuff you now. You're king of the city. Ryan suspected Damien's trickery, but couldn't grasp it. Damien wouldn't reveal a thing. Damien called for tea and started writing. Ryan sat silently. After a while, Damien said, Publish this incident. Your name, your credit, and the work gets done. Fine. You fooled me before. I still do, but the publicity will expose why Benedict's corpse was stolen. And how. If I knew, why listen to your scolding? Ryan knew Damien held answers, but delayed sharing. Damien was unofficial. He'd seek Ryan's help when success neared. All right, I'll handle publicity. Then what? Wait and watch. Drink your tea. Chapter 15. Cassandra Wycliffe, exhausted, stretched and slid the phone onto the bedside table. All 8 members of the Secret Service kept their phones within reach. One never knew when Shadow Zero might call, the elusive officer who never rested. She barely drifted off when the phone rang sharply. Annoyed, she mechanically picked up. "Yes, sir?" Finally recognizing my voice. "Yes, sir." "What's that?" Following your orders, the grave was dug, but instead of a corpse, the coffin held only stones. Not surprised. If the body were there, I wouldn't have bothered. May I ask, what connection does this have with Dr. Benedict's grave and Laurent's corpse? All part of the same chain. Soon, you'll achieve something significant. Captain Bramwell must also go into hiding, like Ellsworth. Will you inform him, or should I? I will, but watch both him and Ellsworth closely. Understood. One more thing, the police were at the cemetery. We hoped they'd mislead the criminals. We fooled the criminals ourselves. Now they're certain we belong to another faction. Tomorrow's papers will reveal much. That troublemaker Damien was with Assistant Director Ryan Blake. You know him? Yes. Capable. But no threat to Shadow Zero's work. The line went dead. Cassandra set the receiver down, pulling the covers over herself, attempting to sleep once more. Chapter 16. 2 headlines dominated the morning papers. In Eastwick, red writing appeared in the sky, followed by a smoke-filled disaster echoing previous events. Millions were looted despite military siege. Soldiers lacked gas masks, and the dense smoke blocked their advance. The second report concerned Dr. Benedict's grave. Police believed his body had been stolen, purpose unknown. Assistant Director Ryan Blake had prior intelligence but mistakenly identified another grave, allowing criminals to slip away with the corpse. The criminals' deception of the NCA was detailed. Damien read the news alone in Dinah's pub. The owner was yet to arrive. The bartender doubled as a server. "Troubling me again, sir?" the bartender asked, smiling. "When have I troubled you?" "Me? Madam? Sit! No one else here." The bartender obliged. "Have you ever loved?" Damien asked. "Love? Ha!" The bartender laughed. "No, I haven't," Damien said coldly. "You should be crying, not laughing." The bartender kept chuckling. "I've fallen for your madam," Damien confessed. The bartender froze, chair toppling. "Straighten up, or Dinah will chew you alive," Damien warned softly. The bartender steadied himself, astonished. A handsome man like Damien loving Dinah, a dark-skinned older woman, was unimaginable. Damien returned to the paper. The bartender hesitated, then asked, "Why meddle in Madame's affairs?" "Don't you understand?" Damien said, tapping his chest and reciting. "Love defies meaning and words. It is a delicate truth beyond explanation. I try to explain to Dinah, but you all misunderstand. Foolish of me. Do you know about the unconscious mind?" The bartender shook his head. "Then you've never read Freud." "I'm uneducated, sir." "You should read him. Now, where was I? Fry pan? Yes, break an egg. Add guava jelly, pineapple slices, crushed cardamom." Suddenly, Dinah entered, unexpected and sharp-eyed. "I'm making the final decision today." "What decision?" Damien asked. "Silence, or the neighbors will hear." "You'll ruin us," she snapped. "Dinah, please," Damien said softly. Her eyes moistened. "Send the bartender out, then I'll explain." Dinah glanced at the bartender, who was dusting behind the counter. "Or come with me," Damien said, tears glistening. She led him to her sitting room, more alert now, lips parted, eyes duller. "What will you say?" she panted. "Just smile once, then I'll strangle myself and die." She blinked. "Smile," Damien urged, chuckling. She showed teeth reluctantly. Damien collapsed theatrically, wailing. Dinah's anger flared. "Get up," she said, pulling him up. "No, let me die here." "What to do?" she laughed oddly. "I'll die here or take me home." "You're crazy. Ruined the business. Now this." "But I love you." "Stopped," she scolded, ashamed. Damien beat his chest harder. "Why pursue me?" she asked. "I'm helpless," he started. Suddenly, the waiter burst in, breathless. "Madam." "Reuben," he said, retreating quickly. "Reuben," Dinah echoed, shaking Damien. "Run." Heavy footsteps approached. A pale, dark-skinned man entered, eyes fiery red. "What's happening?" he roared. Dinah hid her face and drank hard. Damien looked confused, as if this wasn't his problem. "Who is this?" the man demanded. "I don't know," Dinah stammered. "Who are you?" he growled at Damien. "A lover," Damien said carelessly. "Worried about Dinah's wealth, aren't you?" Dinah's face turned jaundiced. "Take off your sandals," the man snarled, "and drag him outside. Move!" "Just a second," Damien raised his hand. "Why are you called Reuben?" "What?" "Your name's ridiculous, like calling an elephant a lizard. Should be dumbass," he threatened. Reuben punched Damien. Damien dodged, tripped him, and the man crashed with a chair, the crash echoing. In moments, Damien was out of the room and the pub. Chapter 17. Cassandra Wycliffe dialed Logan, a SID's operative. "Logan, Shadow Zero orders you to follow a man named Reuben at Dinah's pub. He's tall, dark-skinned, with red eyes and a recent head injury, likely bandaged." "The weather's fine," Logan teased. "Not now. This is an order." Logan grumbled but promised to comply. Cassandra waited anxiously for 3 hours, receiving repeated calls from Shadow Zero pressing for Logan's report. At 2:30 a.m., Logan called, distressed. "Someone shot Reuben in the Lancaster Hotel bathroom. No gunfire heard. Likely a silenced pistol. The bullet struck his right temple." "Couldn't reach his residence?" Number He left Dinah's after a loud fight. "Logan, you're in danger too. Hide immediately. Shadow Zero orders anyone spotted by criminals to stay apart. Where are you?" "At the Lancaster Hotel." "Stay put, but avoid solitude. I'm informing Shadow Zero." Cassandra hung up and called Shadow Zero's secret number. "Cassandra, your instincts are right. Reuben links us to the criminals. I have other leads, but haven't pursued them." "What about the glassworks where Bramwell was attacked?" "Useless path. Those men I injected were mere hired hands unaware of the real criminals." "What about Logan?" "I'll extract him safely." After ending the call, Cassandra changed and drove to the market. She sensed she was followed by Damien. "Miss Wycliffe, important news." "I don't know you." "Doesn't matter. Tea at Cafe Imperia. Much to discuss." Intrigued despite his arrogance, she agreed. At the cafe, Damien asked, "Where were you the night Benedict's corpse disappeared?" "Mind your manners." "Your fingerprints were on Benedict's coffin." She rose. "I'm leaving." "Go if you wish. I dislike clashes between your SID and the NCA. Someone's after Benedict's corpse. I'm the devil's kin. You know, pretending ignorance worsens matters." "Don't be familiar." "I can tolerate your dislike. I know all 8 of your team. 2 missing, a 3rd compromised." "Enough nonsense. Are you an insurance agent?" "Maybe. Meet me for lunch one day. If I show, spit on me." She studied him. "Speak plainly. Why seek me?" "I don't make acquaintances. You'll regret crossing me. I'll tell Ryan Blake about the corpse. You have 2 hours to consult colleagues. Here's my card. Call within 2 hours. No more." Damien left. Cassandra wiped sweat, masking fear of Shadow Zero, who demanded his team stay hidden. She left mechanically. Returning home breathless, she unlocked the door and was grabbed. Before she could scream, a hand silenced her. Darkness claimed her. Cassandra didn't know how long she'd been unconscious. When she awoke, she sensed immediately she wasn't in her room. Darkness surrounded her, but she lay not on soft bedding, but on rough ground scattered with small stones. Pain pricked her skin. A faint red glow came from her left. Crawling toward it, she spotted a large hole nearby, big enough for a man to pass through, and the light emanated from within. On the other side, a fire burned. 3 men lay motionless. A 4th sat by the flames, lighting his pipe. Against a stone leaned rifles and a large axe. The cave was vast, split by the hole. Halfway through, Cassandra gripped a rifle and quietly ordered the watching man, "Stay calm." He regarded her calmly, unfazed, as if humoring a child. After a moment, he said softly, "Keep the rifle empty and put it down. These men are dangerous. I subdued them with difficulty." She hesitated, but obeyed. "Follow my instructions or face consequences." "Why am I here?" "You'll learn soon. For now, put down the rifle. If those men awaken, your life will be hell." She pondered, then moved into the cave's darkness. The man's face and voice seemed familiar, but she couldn't place him. Perhaps a delusion born of exhaustion. After half an hour, torchlight pierced the gloom. 2 men entered, seized her, and dragged her out. Now 6 men surrounded her. The once sleeping men were awake, ready to move. A rifle was slung over Cassandra's shoulder. She was pushed forward silently. Outside, the cold was biting, a stark contrast to the cave's stillness. After some distance, they halted beside a large station wagon. Cassandra entered without protest. 4 men joined her inside, 2 took the driver's seats. A blanket was draped over her. "You can lie down if you want." "No, thank you. I'm fine." The vehicle rumbled onward over smooth roads. Hours later, they stopped near a stone building as thunder rolled overhead. Inside, sparse furnishings and brown stone walls gave a rustic, rural feel. Left alone, the warmth from a fireplace contrasted sharply with the stark room. Minutes later, a short, stocky man entered, prematurely balding, no older than 35. Cassandra recognized him instantly. Dr. Benedict, the famed scientist whose coffin had been stolen. His sharp, piercing eyes unsettled her. She met them only once. "You must be tired," he said softly, his gentle tone contrasting with his rough features. She remained silent. "I've admired you since you tricked my men at Fairfield House. So you know who I am." "I don't need to." "But who else was with you?" "I don't know." "Stubbornness is foolish." "I won't convince you. Eventually, you'll talk. If my men went mad, you might strangle yourself." "How can I reveal what I don't know?" "What was said between Laurent and Ellsworth?" "I don't know. Only someone there might." Benedict stared at the fire, then asked sharply, "Who dug my grave?" "I won't say. I spare you because none of my men wronged you. I know my life depends on silence." "No need. You're no child. You faked death for the country. Laurent may have known the secret." "You're clever. I have no part in Laurent's death. My feigned death served the nation. Who are you to interfere? I want to find who corrupted my men's minds." Cassandra considered his honesty. Despite being taken forcibly, she was treated with relative respect. She wondered about Shadow Zero, perhaps a foreign agent. Benedict offered brandy. She declined. "You're Latina?" "Yes." "Your colleagues are local. Are you loyal to Britain?" "Yes. My mother was local. I love this land." "You lie." Benedict's mood darkened. "You're an enemy spy. Name your master." Cassandra shivered. Suddenly, footsteps and a voice announced, "Doctor!" "Police!" Benedict cursed angrily. The man who had cautioned her earlier entered. "Police nonsense," Benedict growled. "Doctor, all others are detained," the man said. "You drunk?" Benedict sneered. No interest in drink. "You caused chaos drinking last night." "I'm sober now. Your colleagues are locked inside." He gestured toward the door. "Leave, or I'll make you see sense." He left. Benedict's fury turned back to Cassandra. "If you're a patriot, why are police here?" she asked. He's drunk nonsense. Not all my men are as serious." Suddenly the door opened again. The man entered carrying a bound man. "Look, doctor," he said. Benedict's eyes widened. "The others are asleep." Benedict moved to see the other men. The man winked at Cassandra. A thick moustache hid his smile. Cassandra turned shyly away. Benedict roared, "Who are you?" "You're no fool, Benedict. You've been deceived." "You're finished," the man said, revealing himself. "Damien." "Dr. Benedict, surrender, or I may take your corpse." "Who are you?" "Lord James Whitmore, Lord of Ravenshire." Suddenly, Dr. Benedict lunged fiercely at Damien. Damien sidestepped quickly, and the doctor crashed to the floor, but sprang up instantly, attacking again with ferocity. "Oh no, no," Damien said, retreating calmly. "Fighting isn't the way of gentlemen. You're a tall man, Doctor. Don't stoop to brawling." This time, Benedict's fist slammed into the wall with brutal force. Stars flickered in his eyes as pain flashed across his face. A low moan escaped him. "The fruit of patience is sweet," Damien murmured kindly, stepping aside. Cassandra, watching closely, felt rooted in place. She had heard stories of Damien's skill, but never witnessed it firsthand. Alone, he had subdued 7 men, now toying with their leader like a cat playing with its prey. Benedict slumped against the wall, breath heavy. Damien pulled out chewing gum, tearing the wrapper. "This is the best cure for fatigue," he said lightly. "Controls breathing too. Want some?" Benedict spat a curse. "Well, that's a great scientist's response," Damien said, smacking his lips. Benedict clawed at his throat and lunged again, but Damien dodged with ease. Kicking off the opposite wall, he stood at a distance, hands raised like a wise man. Socrates said, "Reason fuels the fire of anger, and a man becomes like a burnt building, useless but still rooted." If Socrates had married, he wouldn't have said that. "Why? Doctor, what do you think?" But Benedict was already unconscious. His final desperate attack had split his head. Blood pooled beneath him as he lay face down. Cassandra licked her dry lips, stunned. Chapter 18. Damien loaded 8 unconscious men into the station wagon. Cassandra stood silently beside him. "You'll sit next to me. Don't try to run. You'll get lost in these hills otherwise. I'm sure you didn't watch the road coming here." "I'll wait," Cassandra said, voice trembling. Damien entered a nearby building where owls hooted. Inside a small room with a transmitter, he spoke into the receiver. "Valeria." "Receiving?" A voice replied. "Damien." "Where are you?" "Still where I said. At 6:38 tonight, call Lieutenant Cromwell. Tell him to take his 3 men near Mariner's Customs Hall. This is a message from Shadow Zero. Tell him to search every station wagon near Norwood House. I'm bringing prisoners. Cassandra's with me. If I resist, give me a thorough beating. Then take the prisoners to Fairfield House and await further orders." "Who's Cassandra?" Valeria asked. "An old sick woman. Probably won't last the trip. Write down the time and orders." Damien disconnected and returned. Cassandra sat beside him as the wagon started moving. "This won't end well," Cassandra said. "Go to hell. I just want to hurt Assistant Director Ryan Blake. The police will handle themselves." "You can't hand them directly to police. This is Secret Service business." "It'll happen," Damien said indifferently. "I've seen the Secret Service. If I weren't here, those men would have torn you apart." "Want some gum? It's in my pocket." Cassandra stayed silent, grateful for Damien's presence. After some time, she asked, "How long have you been with these people?" "Just today. I left the restaurant and hid. Benedict's men were watching you. You left your flat. 2 men carried a heavy coffin. I suspected you inside. I followed them to the cave where you were first taken. 4 men there. 1 named Basil, probably still tied in the bushes." Confucius said, "Don't let your body be lazy. The boat will cross." "I worked hard. I drugged all 7 in their drinks." "Are there more men?" "Maybe a dozen others in the city." "What about the red writing?" "Absolutely real. Apocalypse. It will spread worldwide." Cassandra dozed, leaning against the seat. A jolt woke her. The wagon stopped. Lieutenant Cromwell's voice commanded, "Damien, get out quietly, or I'll make a hole in your skull." "Do it, dear. Call it a brain window. Keeps air flowing. Brain won't overheat." A revolver pressed against Damien's chest. Doors opened. He was dragged out. "What's going on?" Cassandra shouted. "Shadow Zero's orders," Cromwell said, taking the wheel. From the back, a voice warned Damien, "Your turn, Rio. Don't move." Damien grumbled, "Cassandra, be witness before God. I caught Benedict." And cursed Confucius, who preached goodness. Enough. Robin Hood, do good and forget it. The wagon roared into the night. Chapter 19. In a large room at Fairfield House, the Secret Intelligence Directorate's 8 members sat silently as Shadow Zero's hoarse voice crackled through the transmitter. His voice was always rough. His subordinates believed it was a deliberate disguise. He spoke, "Doctor." Benedict had stolen a rocket he helped design. It was capable of maneuvering in all directions mid-flight, emitting red glowing gas from its rear. Originally intended as a lunar test vehicle, Benedict had twisted its purpose. He used it to create red smoke writings in the sky, driving people to madness. Then, smoke bombs were dropped over settlements, triggering scenes of apocalypse. Amidst the chaos, Benedict's men, equipped with gas masks, raided and looted millions in 2 attacks. Aware his secret wouldn't stay hidden, Benedict faked his death. His group buried a coffin filled with stones. Laurent was actually a DCPJ inspector sent to recover the rocket discreetly, preventing rival nations from gaining advantage. He sought me out, but was eliminated by Benedict's men. The rocket is now in my possession. It will be returned to France through official channels. I owe Damien a debt for this. Though he knows you all, he doesn't know me. I intend to keep it that way. It serves us better. Now disperse. The police are arriving to arrest the criminals. Your existence must remain unknown to them. Chapter 20. Damien switched off the transmitter and coughed lightly. Speaking so long had strained his throat. Valeria stood nearby, watching him intently, then suddenly grabbed his ear and twisted hard. "Ouch!" Damien caught her hand. "I found out today," she said, releasing him. "Why keep it from me so long?" "You must have believed rumors," Damien replied. "This is Damien, the man whose words and deeds are not to be trusted. Last night you asked me to deliver Shadow Zero's message. Tell me now, or else—" Valeria raised a fist. All right, Damien said bitterly, stepping back. "I'm the chief of the Secret Intelligence Directorate. I hide from my own subordinates. Otherwise, they'd be on me in seconds. I look so unthreatening people pat my shoulder and chat. When I try to look intimidating, I only look ridiculous. When people hear Shadow Zero's voice on the phone, they start coughing like me. But the beating they gave me last night, I still feel it. They dragged me from the station wagon, threw me to the ground so hard that anyone else's bones and ribs would have shattered." "Who is this Cassandra?" "Dead," Damien said, drawing a deep breath. "What's her story?" "She was at least 95, Benedict's grandmother. That scoundrel imprisoned her because she knew the secret of his fake death. He feared she'd reveal it. Cassandra, a beautiful name." "And she must have been beautiful in her youth," Damien nodded. "Now, chew some gum." He scratched his head, eyes squinting. Valeria looked away, lost in thought. Thank you so much for watching. Your feedback in the comments is extremely important to us, so please share your thoughts and suggestions below. Don't forget to subscribe to Obscura Chronicles, like this video, and share it with your friends. Stay tuned, and we'll meet again in the next thrilling case.